The Minions are interesting. As an entity, they're one of the most profitable IPs ever known to man, appearing in countless movies, TV shows, comics, video games, merchandise, Facebook mom memes, etc., etc. They give Mickey Mouse a run for his money in terms of which mascot for $1 billion company has more of a chokehold on the youth. Yes, they're super profitable and they're a capitalist's wet dream. But do the Minions themselves embody this capitalist lust for wealth and power? Or do our beloved yellow friends exhibit traits of a different sociological way of life? Well, after watching the new Minions and Monsters movie in the theaters by myself all alone, I couldn't help but notice that the Minions are a perfect allegory of socialist society. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly what socialist principles I see throughout all of the Minions lore, and how it proves that there's more to these characters than just fart jokes. No, the thumbnail wasn't lying to you. Today, we are going to be seriously digging deep into how Minions really are socialist. The liberation of labor. In the German ideology, Marx writes that under capitalism, people are trapped in rigid professions. In a communist society, that strict division of labor simply disappears. Nobody has one exclusive sphere of activity. To hunt in the morning, fish in the afternoon, reel cattle in the evening, criticize after dinner, without ever becoming a hunter, a fisherman, a herdsman, or a critic. Sound familiar? That's because the Minions live this exact reality in every movie that they're in. They have no fixed, permanent career paths. You can take any Minion and seamlessly shift them from building advanced rockets to go steal the moon, to operating a bulldozer, to becoming a secret spy, to becoming an actor. They rotate tasks fluidly based entirely on what the collective group needs at the moment, and they're never locked into a single identity. The distribution of wealth. In Critique of the Gotha program, Marx presents the ultimate guiding principles for a fully realized communist society, from each according to his ability to each according to his needs. Have you ever noticed that Minions completely bypass any need for currency, wages, or even trade? There's no Minion bucks, no Minion stock exchanges, no Minions cryptocurrency. Every Minion contributes to tasks based on what they are physically and mentally capable of doing. In return, their food, shelter, and medicine and medical needs are fully provided for. There is one thing that Minions value, and that's bananas. The Minions' love for bananas is a core part of who they are, and it's well documented in their lineage that this need for bananas goes back way back when, through their million-year history. It's the one thing that they prioritize over everything else, and they are gathered collectively and shared amongst the group equally, ensuring that no Minion hoards bananas while another one goes hungry. There's no bananillionaire hoarding the prized potassium. I mean, shit. In the Minion world, you couldn't even hoard anything. The pockets aren't fitting anything. Collective property and cooperation. In Principles of Communism, Engels explains that the new social order must have to take control of industry and of all branches of production out of the hands of mutually competing individuals, and instead institute a system in which all of these branches of production are operated by society as a whole, on a common account and according to a common plan. How does this apply to the Minions? Well, Minions operate as a massive, unified entity with zero internal market competition. Their tools, vehicles are completely nationalized by the collective. I mean, look at how they dress. Even their iconic denim overalls function as a standardized utilitarian uniform provided to all the members, eliminating the useless need for status symbols, private ownership, and class distinction. Sidebar, we even see in the movie Minions and Monsters that the Minions are the reason that a yellow top with denim overalls becomes a fashion statement, much like how working class people, often people of color, are the ones who are the catalysts for modern strides in fashion that the bourgeoisie later adopt. Think the blue denim overalls are to the Minions what Carhartt jackets are to us in the real world. Also, another sidebar, denim historically is the clothing of blue-collar working-class people. Why do you think it's called blue collar? The transition and voluntary discipline. In The State and Revolution, Lenin describes the eventual phases of stateless communism, where people become so accustomed to the basic rules of social life that the necessity of observing the simple, fundamental rules of the community will very soon become a habit. Work happens without the oversight of some separate apparatus of coercion. In the first Minions film, when they're stranded in the ice cave without a master, The minions do not descend into capitalist competition or chaotic anarchist lawlessness. Instead, their natural habit is to self-organize, and they build an entire subterranean village, establishing recreational sports and coordinating massive choir performances. Their social order relies entirely on internal communal habit rather than a legal system or a police force. Even when they have a master come in and they establish common order and it inevitably gets ruined because one of the minions accidentally kills the leader, they never face recourse for this. They're not ostracized from the group. Non-alienated, joyful work. In his economic and philosophical manuscripts of 1844, Marx details how capitalism alienates the worker, making work a miserable chore done only for survival. He argues that true human nature views productive work as a free, joyful, and creative expression of life. Now, I'm sure this is where the biggest contenders of my point are going to spawn from, saying, oh, Ali, all the minions do is work for their master. How the hell is this a utopia, you woke liberal? Well, it's true that the minions work all the time and they're always in pursuit of work, but yet they're somehow still happy and fulfilled. Minions are never miserable when they work. They do not sell their hours for a paycheck to then pay for rent. They approach construction, laboratory science, housekeeping, DJing with immense joy, singing, laughing, and playing games while they produce labor. Their work is a celebratory, shared social activity, fulfilling Marx's vision of an unalienated human or minion labor force. Now, there's one other thing that the movies always play off as a joke, but I don't think it's a joke. The inevitable overthrow of the bourgeoisie. In the Communist Manifesto, Marx and Engels famously argue that the capitalist class creates the very conditions for its own destruction. They write, what the bourgeoisie therefore precedes, above all, are its own gravediggers. Its fall and the victory of the proletariat are equally inevitable. Marx noted that the ruling class is structurally unstable, blinded by its own hubris, greed, and reliance on the working class. Throughout history, in the Minions film and in Minions and Monsters, we see the minions act literally as the gravediggers for the ruling exploitive class. The ruling elite see the minions as disposable, unpaid, low-wage style labor to be used for their own enrichment. They invite the minions to the inner sanctum of power, and then the minions dismantle these oppressive figures from the inside. And this is where I say Universal decides to trick us. And now all the movies that show the minions and their lives, BG, for the uninitiated, that's before Glue, they show the minions accidentally killing all their leaders and masters. But is it really an accident if it happens every single time? Or is it when a labor movement is so tightly chained and unionized that them overthrowing their masters is just a byproduct of a unified labor force and not just a quote-unquote accident? While Marx described a conscious proletariat revolution, the minions achieve the exact same historical outcome through what appears to be chaotic clumsiness. In Marxist terms, this illustrates how the systemic contradictions of the ruling class make their collapse inevitable. Even a minor spark will bring the whole system down. And this is perfectly illustrated in the opening scene from the first Minions film. The T-Rex, an apex predator who rules through physical oppression. There was a minion rolling a boulder and it inadvertently rolls it over him instead. The oppressor gets crushed by his very own tools of labor. There was the Pharaoh. In ancient Egypt, they relied on back-breaking slave labor to build monuments to their own ego. The minions accidentally built the pyramid upside down, crushing the Pharaoh, showing that the ruling class's hubris and demands for grand construction directly caused their death. When they killed Napoleon, Napoleon represented the expansionist state that uses its workers as cannon fodder. During a battle, a minion accidentally fires a cannon directly at Napoleon. The war machine got destroyed by the artillerymen it relied on to maintain its vice grip. Dracula? Marx explicitly used vampire imagery in capital writing. The capital is dead labor, which, vampire-like, lives only by sucking living labor. The minions accidentally open the curtains on Dracula and he dies, turning him to dust with sunlight. So they destroyed the parasitic ruling class simply by bringing transparency and light into his dark hidden world. Think about that. The minions show that the bourgeoisie cannot survive without the proletariat, but the proletariat can easily survive without the bourgeoisie. Every time a master is accidentally eliminated by a minion's mistake, the minions collectively suffer no structural damage. And again, they don't take it out on each other. They simply dust off their overalls, put their goggles back on, and continue existing and going around the world as a communal unit, proving that the masters that they're so eager to please are really just a useless parasitic burden on them. At first glance, these adorable tic-tac shaped bundles of joy were seen as nothing more than a tool for a quick gag in these movies, only being able to be enjoyed by the young demographic who laughs at the poop jokes and the older demographic who posts the out-of-touch Facebook mom memes. But for the demographic in the in-between, I think there's a much more important thing that the Minions can illustrate to us. Yes, I'm talking to you. Maybe we can look at our yellow friends and see more. See a utopia where we can find community, companionship, laughter, relationships, where we can live in a society not bound by gender norms or how much capital you've accumulated. Maybe we will all have one if we become Minion. Thank you very much. Subscribe. Banana.